After Cafe, where the estate trade starts finds out and every conversation explores the art of thinking beyond the obvious. And today I have my special guest. He's the president, guidance for greatness, move from challenge to change, of course, an author, speaker, coach, and consultant, none other than Mr. Jim Salvucci.
Thank you, Daniel. Thanks for having me.
Welcome, Mr. Jim on Abstract Cafe. Can you please introduce more about yourself? Yes.
Sure. I'm a recovering academic that spent over 30 years in higher education as a professor, a dean, and a vice president. And then I moved into the corporate world. And what I do is I speak, I give keynote speeches. I've done a TEDx. I write. I have a book out called Guidance for Greatness. And I consult and I coach. Leadership is my field. So that's what I do.
Yes, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Mr. Jim. Thank you. And today let's talk about something good, behavior change using the tiny habit method.
Mhm.
So tell us, a tiny habits method seems to flip the script on traditional self-help. Instead of big goals, big effort. Is it small actions, big identity? Or how does starting absurdly small actually rewire our self-concept faster than chasing a major outcome?
Well, I have to give credit where credit's due. I'm a certified tiny habits coach, which is why I'm authorized to speak about it. But um, Tiny Habits was developed by Dr. BJ Fogg, who is a researcher out of Stanford University. He runs the behavior change um, lab at Stanford University. And he's done extensive research into behavior change, into why people develop habits, how they develop habits. And it's really, as you said, flips the script. It's very different from what we're told by most so-called behavior experts who talk about how we form habits. Habits aren't necessarily formed over time. Time has little or nothing to do with it. And also, you don't have to form big habits. And that's one of his great insights is that you can create new habits starting as small as possible. And that has numerous advantages, not the least of which that you overcome the burden of motivation, which is one of the things that holds us back the most from developing good habits. Where we often might feel motivated at the beginning, but our motivation waxes and wanes. It comes and goes. It's December now, and in January, the gyms will be filled because it's a new year and people have created a resolution. They want to get out to the gym and work out more often, and all these people will be at the gym and they'll all be excited and they'll be packed. And by the end of the month, the gyms will be empty. What happened?
Mhm.
What happened? It's very simple. People were motivated at the beginning and probably over motivated, said, I'm going to get out to the gym 5 days a week. I'm going to get there 7 days a week, whatever it is. Did that for a little bit, hit a wall, something happened. They missed a day. They said, oh, well, I blew it. I blew my streak. Now I'm not, they're just not motivated anymore. Or they just get tired. You know, they overextend them. 7 days a week's crazy. You can't go to the gym 7 days a week. That's too much. And so they lose their motivation. Whatever it is, they become demotivated. By February, the gyms are completely desolate. They're ghost towns. That's one of the problems with using motivation to change behavior and develop habits. And what Tiny Habits does is it flips that. And instead of worrying about motivation, we look at the ability to do something. How hard is it? How difficult is it? How challenging is it to do something? And we make that as small as possible, as small as possible. So it's incredibly easy to do. Instead of going to the gym every day, we do something much, 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 much smaller, smaller than going to the gym one day. It could be something as simple as putting on your gym sneakers. That could be the habit. And from that, it plants a seed and it develops into a much larger behavior. And that's really Tiny Habits, a very, very, very stripped down version of it. And we get into the details as we go along.
Yes. And a key pillars in celebrating small wins, Mr. Jim, is for many adults, this feels silly or unnecessary. Why is it emotional reinforcement more critical than a logical understanding that we should feel good about doing the habit?
So, one of BJ Fogg's other observations is that we don't form habits over time, we form habits through emotion. Emotion is what locks in habit. You've heard, I'm sure, 22 days to a new habit, 30 days to a new habit, 60 days to a new habit, 90 days, 6 months to a new habit. Just do this thing for 6 months and you'll have a new habit. Frankly, if you're doing something for 6 months, it's already a habit. But I've heard all these different schemes, and the reason there's so many of them is because they're not true. You can form a habit in an instant. You could form a habit overnight. What locks in a habit is the emotion that you feel. And in order to be as positive as possible, the emotion that we use in Tiny Habits to lock in the habit is celebration. So you celebrate your success. You feel the emotion of success, no matter how small it is. Okay. If the habit is do one push up, you celebrate that when you do the one push up. If you do no more, that's fine. If you do more, great. That's better. So what? You're going to celebrate it either way. And when we celebrate, we feel, like I said, that emotion of success. And BJ calls that the emotion of shine. You want to feel that shine. Now, a lot of people really, really struggle with celebration. There's some cultures that are better than others. Kids are great at it. We lose that as when we become adults, though. We lose that ability to celebrate so spontaneously. But the thing is, you're by yourself. You can do whatever you want, right? To feel that celebration, to feel that success, to feel that shine. So it can range, it's very personal. And so it can range from just feeling a moment of contentment to dancing around the room like a fool and singing, whatever you want, anything in between. Some people just, like I said, they just sit there and they just feel content. They feel shine. They feel that success. That's their celebration. Other people involve their dogs or their kids or whatever, dance and sing. You could just pump your arm in the air. I discovered it took me a little while to find my celebration, what I like. And my celebration is almost like a meta celebration. What I'll do is I'll make a silly noise and I'll laugh at myself. And that makes me feel that feeling of success. I'm enjoying myself at that moment. And so the celebration can take all these different forms. And there's something that BJ calls a celebration blitz in order to identify what your celebration is. If you're not sure how you celebrate your success, if you're not used to it, or if it's uncomfortable, all you need to do is find some sort of repetitive task. Okay. Something like emptying the dishwasher, folding your laundry, something you're going to be doing multiple steps of, right? And every time you fold a piece of laundry, you do a different celebration. Set a timer for 3 minutes, fold your socks, celebrate. Fold your underwear, celebrate. Fold a t-shirt, celebrate. But do a different celebration each time. Try different things. Try to be as silly as possible. See what works. And when 3 minutes is up, you'll probably have identified some celebration that worked for you. If not, well, don't, just stop right there. 3 minutes is enough. Come back to it another time and try different celebrations until you actually get the celebration that works for you. Once you've done
Yes.
that, then you're able to lock in those habits.
Yes, definitely. And Mr. Jim, the method emphasizes ability over motivation. In a culture obsessed with willpower, why is it focusing on our personal capacity for action in a given moment the real game changer?
Yeah, I mean, I like how you put that. A culture's obsessed with willpower. We make an almost moral thing about this. that you, if you just can't will yourself into exercising, you're no good at it. But no one really can. In fact, one of the things in tiny habits is we always start with the idea that you actually want to make the change, that you want to develop the habit that you're looking to develop. If you don't want to, if you're utterly unmotivated, if it really isn't something you want to do, it's no matter what you do, you're not going to be able to form that habit. You'll always fail. So that's number one. Number two is, like I said, that motivation, that willpower goes up and down, up and down. And the one thing that you can really control, though, is your ability to do something. So I'll explain basically how this works. So let's say I want you to donate money to the Red Cross. And let's say that you love the Red Cross. You absolutely love the Red Cross. That's easy, right? You're motivated to donate the money. But then let's say, well, I want you to donate, Daniel, I want you to donate $10,000 to the Red Cross. And you're like, I don't have $10,000. Your ability is very, very low. It's an incredibly difficult thing to do. You're not going to be able to donate, even though you're highly motivated. Now let's flip the script. Let's say that you don't like the Red Cross. I don't know why. You just have something against the Red Cross. Maybe they gave you sugar cookies after you donated blood and you didn't like the cookies. You're never going to donate to the Red Cross. You're really against them. Very demotivated to donate to the Red Cross. But I say to you, Daniel, I only need you to donate $1. And by the way, you can use a text app to donate the money. It takes 2 seconds. It's no big deal. And you go, $1 takes a few seconds. I can do that. Because even though you're not motivated, the ability is there. It's so easy, and you might as well just do it. And that's what tiny habits is predicated upon. This ability, we usually graph this out, and there's something we call the action line. And anything that's to one side of the action line, you're pretty much going to do, either because you're so highly motivated or because it's so easy. But again, motivation you can't really trust because it can come and go. You can be motivated today and not motivated tomorrow. I say, donate to the Red Cross. She says, I love the Red Cross. I'll donate to them. But then tomorrow you're thinking, I'm a little short on cash. No, I'm not so motivated anymore. You can lose it. But if the ability is there, if it's so easy to do that it really can't fail, just donate $1. No big deal. Just do it over a text message. Then you're probably going to do it. And that's the way it works. So for instance, if you wanted to develop a habit of doing more push-ups, by the way, not all the habits are physical, going to the gym, push-ups, just using these as an example. But you want to develop a habit of doing more push-ups, but you don't really do any push-ups. You're probably going to be very motivated at first, but as soon as you get on the floor, you're going to realize, doing push-ups is a little harder than people think, right? So you do a few of them, you go, oh my God, I'm exhausted, but I need to do more push-ups. You're going to lose your motivation very quickly when you realize how hard it is to do. Instead, though, if you only do one push-up, and then celebrate that, you can very quickly develop that into a habit. And that habit will, over time, almost certainly increase. So you'll do one push-up, and then another day you'll say, I can do 2 push-ups. You do 2, and then 3, and maybe 5. And I have a habit of doing push-ups, and I do 30 at a clip. Okay, so I can do push-ups. I can do a lot of push-ups. I do over 100 push-ups a day. I'm going to be 61 next month, so this is kind of a feat for me. But I could do a lot of push-ups because I developed the habit of doing push-ups. Now, the tiny habits method is also predicated upon what we call an anchor. You need to have something that you attach the habit to. So, for instance, it's a routine or a currently existing habit, something you do every day. If you are not particularly motivated to floss, you never floss your teeth, but you really need to and you want to do it, but you forget, or it just, when you start doing, you're kind of like, this is boring. This stuff gets caught in my teeth. I don't want to do it. What we'd say is, okay, well, find something you want to do that you always do, that you would do before you floss. Typically, it would be brush your teeth, right? So at the end of the day, you're brushing your teeth before bed, and That's your anchor. I finished brushing my teeth. After I finish brushing my teeth, what am I going to do? Well, it could be as simple as I take out the floss container. That could be the habit. I just take out the floss. I take it out of the medicine cabinet, whatever. I pick it up and then I celebrate that. And there's a very good chance that since it's in my hand, I'll just start flossing. Now, even better thing to do is what we call, so that would be a starter step, like the first thing you do. Another thing to do is a tinier version of the full habit. Instead of instead of flossing all your teeth, you floss one tooth, just one tooth. And by doing that, as soon as you do it, you celebrate it. It doesn't matter whether you floss any more teeth, but by doing that, chances are you're going to keep flossing. You're going to floss more teeth. And that's the way Tiny Habits works. If this sounds odd or not likely, I can assure you it is extremely likely. I've developed, I don't even know how many habits of my own using Tiny Habits, and I've helped countless people develop all sorts of habits, getting them to start their day better, to get better sleep, to stop looking at their phone, to meditate more, things like that. And it's always something simple. Meditate. I counseled somebody I was coaching on how to develop a habit of meditation in the morning. And it was simply the habit wasn't meditating. The habit was sit on the couch where you're going to meditate. And next thing he knows, he was doing meditation every day. That's how Tiny Habits works. It's so simple that you're just like, I might as well do it. I might as well just do this one little thing. And once you're there, you tend to do more over time. But it doesn't matter either way, you always celebrate.
Yes, people, let's celebrate those tiny habits. So, Mr. Jim, as a president, guidance for greatness, what are your short term and long term goals?
Well, I'm moving toward retirement now, so my long-term goal is to retire fully. Um, but my short-term goal is to do a lot more speaking, and I'm contemplating a second book. I just came out with a book in the spring, which you interviewed me about, called Greater Than Great. And it's a series
Yes.
of essays on leadership. And I'm looking to put together another one. I have a blog and podcast on Substack at jimsalvucci.substack.com, where I put my essays up and I read them. And you can listen to me, or you can read it, or you can watch a video of me reading it. And so my goal is to increase my writing output and to get more speaking engagements.
Yes, and good luck to your goals, Mr. Jim, and looking forward for more success. And what will be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you? Hmm.
Don't. Um, no, I will say something. Like I said, I'm about to be 61 years old, and a few years ago, I discovered Tiny Habits and loved it so much I became a certified coach. And it taught me something that I never really understood my whole life. You can make positive changes in your life. They don't have to be big, but they do add up. All those little things matter. All the little changes that you make matter. And that has transformed how I see life, and it has made me a far more content person than I used to be.
Yes, definitely. So, Mr. Jim, can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey? And thank you for that advice.
Oh, we missed not to mention BJ Fogg's book, Tiny Habits. You definitely want to check
Yes,
that out. It is it's a book that is very in depth. It's not something you're just going to sit down and read. In fact, it usually bears reading a couple times to really understand it. I suggest that people do that.
yes, recommended by Mr. Jim. And how do you integrate this method with the larger goal setting or visioning? Does the North Star goal become relevant or does play different role?
No, it's you can set your goals. Just remember, you're not going to get there in one fell swoop. Every trip is a series of steps. So all that Tiny Habits does is it helps you map out those steps, take those smaller steps to get to the bigger goal, rather than just saying we're just going to go for it. And when we often fail when we just take a leap in. Tiny Habits allows you to make those bigger goals more manageable.
Yes, manageable for sure. And Mr. Jim, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please to listen to my other podcast, people, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too, comedy 101 in third season, and food 101 in sixth season. This December, geography 101, love letters. Movie 101 review, music 101, our fourth season, science 101, sex 101 in its second season of my baby podcast, mental health, law 101, Bible verses 101, entrepreneurship 101, and of course, motivation 101 coming this December. So please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So finally, Mr. Jim, if the core of a tiny habit is about self kindness and trusting the process, what does success in behavior change truly ourselves?
I'm sorry, I missed that. Something broke up on me. I'm sorry.
No worries at all. So, finally, if the core of a tiny habit is about self kindness and trusting the process, what does success in behavior change truly ourselves?
Oh, so it's behavior change is possible. It's so important to understand that, and we can really make ourselves into better people through very tiny stages and tiny steps.
Yes, baby steps, people. And Mr. Jim, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. And can you please expound more the phrases on your website? Become the leader you were meant to be.
Well, I'm trying to appeal to people who want to be great leaders. If you don't want to be a great leader, you don't want to talk to me. If you want to be an average boss like everybody else, we're not going to have a conversation. Everybody can be
Yes.
a leader. Everybody is a leader, and it's something to aspire to
Yes, definitely, people. Let's support Mr. Jim Salvucci, because if you support him, for sure, more and more empowering leaders will rise. So, Mr. Jim, thank you so much for your time.
be. Again,
Monica, people, see you soon.